Follow us on Twitter at ghettoplex_mp4, on Instagram at ghettoplex.mp4, and on YouTube at ghettoplex. Am I Racist? The Matt Walsh documentary. I'll say this documentary, it's not as uncomfortable to watch as the What is a Woman documentary. I do believe that the subject matter of What is a Woman is a bit more heavy just because the consequences of mutilating your body are permanent, whereas racism is a state of mind. It's not really inherent, as Matt Walsh would say. It's not really inherent to the human condition. I guess tribalism is somewhat inherent to us as a species, but racism, I think in the documentary, whether you needed to know this or not, is it's not part of the human condition. It's something that you choose personally to believe or participate in. Now, from the trailers you see, obviously he does play a little bit of a character because he dresses up as a liberal. He gets the man bun and everything. I'm a little bit offended about the man bun part. Now I feel personally attacked. I don't know what I have to do with my hair now. I'll just keep a ponytail all day. No more no more bun. I'd have to rock a ponytail. But the film does have the narrative structure of this documentary is really well done. So it starts off with Matt Walsh. This part is actually scripted, but he's at a restaurant ordering a coffee, and the waitress asks him how he likes his coffee, and he kind of goes on into this. He's going, before he orders the coffee, he's has this inner monologue about what is racism and he just has this conversation with himself about what was racism really. And so when as she asks him about how he likes his coffee, he's afraid to say the word black because of this inner monologue he had with himself. And so that's what kind of kicks off the story is his fear to ask for the coffee to be black because that's how he likes it. But also, is it wrong for him to just say the word black? And he hits a library, not a library, he hits up a bookstore and looks for books on anti-racism. And there's a book where the title is literally and he's asking the worker at the bookstore, how am I supposed to say the title of this anti-racist book? It's a word I'm not even allowed to say. And they have this funny conversation about how it's difficult to even, talk about the topic because the vocabulary around race has been so there's been a sensitivity built around just the topic that people are afraid to talk about the topic about not being a racist. It's just it's created this entire industry of racism that's been built by these race baiting propagandists. And they make so much money in the film. You get to see receipts of how much it costs to attend these anti-racist seminars. And a lot of these seminars have a cry room. It's so hilarious that the cry room is basically if you're a white person, you have to go to the cry room and not cry if you feel uncomfortable about your white guilt or whatever, because then it draws attention to you as the white person, and now all of a sudden it's all about you, or I don't know, something like that, something performative. So it's hilarious that these you have to pay as a white person to go to these seminars because you're guilty of being white. One of them was a 5K dinner. Literally, you're paying 5K to go to this dinner. This was in the trailer, but the price tag is not in the trailer. You're paying 5K to go to this dinner to talk about how you're a problem. And it's these two race hustlers host this dinner and they fork 5K out of you. And just, I feel like anyone who attends these seminars, must be like some kind of masochist or something. You just enjoy being humiliated and put down. The most ridiculous one, though, was a 50K. It wasn't even a seminar. It was just this woman. I never even heard the story, but apparently this woman went to a theme park and one of the mascots didn't wave or high five her children. And it turned into this whole news story in that town or that city. And so she charges 50K to talk about that traumatic experience of her daughters not getting high fives from the mascot. And it was turned into this thing about racist incident. And they don't even know who the mascot was. She doesn't know if it was she doesn't even know if it was a white person in the mascot suit. But she makes 50K to talk about her trauma. And you can see too, the look on her face, she just knows she's reeling in this 50K dough to talk about this issue that's not even an issue. It's some mascot didn't high five your kids. That's the problem. That really turned into a 50K problem. It's so crazy. And then so Mac he goes through all these seminars and then he begins to travel to other parts of the country to talk about the things he's learning in these anti-racist seminars. And he goes to the South, and he really gets this Southern hospitality. Everyone there is so nice, just so welcoming. And Matt Walsh goes there talking like one of these anti-racist hustlers, and they're just looking at him, the white people and the black people. They're just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Well, you sound like a psychopath, because he sounds just like these anti-racist people he's been going and learning, taking his white journey of to become anti-racist or whatever. So he starts to talk like them, and he just sounds like an absolute insane person. And it's hilarious to listen to. He also does a reenactment of the Jussie Smollett situation, and that was hilarious. I will say the bits that were obviously acted out were pretty hilarious. But the film ends with him creating his own workshop where he then charges as a DEI expert how to be not racist. And he has like a character arc throughout this small segment of his workshop where he realizes that he is the problem as the anti-racist expert, and that he's actually causing more divide the way that these race hustlers are also causing a division in our country with their anti-racism seminars and workshops. So overall, it was a great documentary. I am glad I paid to see it in theaters. Glad to support it financially. And yeah, if you've seen What Is a Woman, it's definitely not as heavy subject material as that one. I feel like that one's really just harsh because of the mutilation of the body, that the permanent damage that you do to your body. Whereas this one is, it's just kind of confronting the insane conversation that has been propagated about race. I'm trying to use their language to further divide the country into thinking that, if you're white, you're inherently a problem to the world, and there's no solution for it. It's crazy too, because in a lot of these workshops, Matt asks, what's the solution? How do I fix myself? How do I not be racist? How do I rid myself of this privilege and this guilt? And how do I become a good person? And the answer is basically you can't be. You're forever the problem. You're forever a monster. You're forever the antagonist. There is no fixing you. You are a monster. And that's basically the perspective. If you're white, that's what you are. There's no fixing you. So yeah, I don't know. That wraps it up for this review, though. If you saw it, let me know what you thought in the comments. If you saw it in theaters, actually, I'd like to know about that. Anyways, follow us on Twitter at ghettoplex_mp4, on Instagram at ghettoplex.mp4, and on YouTube at ghettoplex. See you guys on the next one.